so welcome to practice today. So today we are doing a yin practice. So what you will need for class is a bolster even, and if you don't have a bolster, then just grab a couple of pillows from your bed and that should suffice. Okay, so we're going to start off really nice and simple. So first of all, we are actually going to just take the legs into windshield wipers just to get a little bit of movement into the hips. So bring the hands back behind you and just gently start to drop the knees over to the left and over to the right. And even just from here, starting to just think about your intention for your practice and what it is you actually need today. What does your body need? And we'll just do one more. And then we're going to come up to our seat. Now you might need to sit on a pillow or a block or a couple of blocks, especially if you find yourself rolling backwards. If being seated doesn't work for you and you're rolling back, then definitely sit on something to prop yourself up and get the hips a little bit higher than the knees. We're going to actually start out by taking the left foot to the inner right thigh and use the bolster. We're going to place the bolster. I like to have my bolster over my leg, but you can have it all sorts of ways. You could have it lengthways with some blocks underneath to elevate the bolster. You could even put the bolster up high and come into the shape this way as well, okay? So especially if you've got any issues with your lower back, so just explore what works for you. So half butterfly to begin with. Left foot is on the inner thigh, right leg is straight, and we're just going to allow ourselves to fold over the right leg. And we're just allowing ourselves to work on deepening the exhalation. So we don't want to adjust the breath too much, but we do want to be mindful of our breath and just starting to extend the exhale so that we can start to come in really to the parasympathetic nervous system and start to massage a little into the vagal nerve. So some of the areas that you might start to feel sensation arise is, of course, into that right hamstring, as well as around the lower portion of the back, and even a little bit into that left inner thigh or groin. So just paying attention and noticing where you feel sensation. And then just allowing the breath to reach those areas that feel a little bit sticky. And you could even imagine the exhale is just starting to really release any tension in the body and any tension in the mind. And slowly with time, and there really is no effort on your part, but you might feel these sort of incremental stages where the body starts to release. You might notice that you soften a little deeper into the shape, and that it's a little easier as time goes on to let go. Okay, we're slowly going to edge our way up and out of this side, and then move straight onto the other side. So this time right leg comes into the inner left thigh. And you might use the bolster again over that left leg, and then slowly starting to edge your way down and forward. And just remembering the principles of Yin Yoga. So the first principle is about appropriate depth. So it's making sure that you're not going too deeply, especially if you ever do Yin in the sort of hot room, or you've done it straight after another practice like a vinyasa or some running. You want to make sure that you're not just going into a deep stretch in the muscles. We're trying to really work with the connective tissue. So this requires the muscles to be cool and to be relaxed so that we can start to work into that fascial tissue and also into the joints as well. So there can be a slight compression on the joint. We don't want to feel the sensation of pinching, so we're always aware of the depth of the pose, never pushing or striving or forcing or bouncing, just a very passive and very mindful depth that works for our body. Okay, very slowly again, starting to edge your way back up. And take the bolster lengthways. We're going to release the right leg off and we're going to come into just a forward fold. So we're going to have the legs about as wide as the mat. You might want to use the bolster in between the legs, or you could even place it on top of the thighs and gently round forward in this way. Or you could use your blocks and place them underneath the bolster to edge forward. I'm going to just edge forward like this, so you do what works for your body. And settle yourself in. Ease your way up. And then we're going to take the bolster a little bit further forward. And then we're going to cross the legs and then roll over the knees. And we're going to come into a very wide leg child's pose. So bring your big toes to touch, separate your knees wide. Then you're going to take your bolster and you're going to place it quite close towards your pubic bone or your groin. We're going to edge the upper body forward. And then we're going to start to shift the hips forward so that we're coming into a frog variation. Now, if frog just does not work for you, then stay in your wide leg child's pose. Okay, we're going to let the belly rest onto the bolster. And then from here, you can take the feet out as wide as your knees, flex the feet, and then let the pelvis become really nice and heavy and drop. And you will feel this on the inner groins, right? So it will feel quite intense in the inner groins. If it's too much, then remember you can always pull out slightly by pulling the knees a little closer together or coming into the child's pose variation. Now, Another option is also just to bring the big toes to touch, and that can take some of the strain off the inner thighs. You might also notice that you get a bit of compression around the outside of the hips. So all of these things are quite normal in yin. Just bear with it and see how you feel, and then settle down into the pose. Okay, just gently starting to ease yourself up. Here we go. So bring your big toes to touch. You're going to gently walk the upper body back and draw the knees in. Oh, you will feel it because I'm feeling it. It is pretty strong. And then we're going to take the bolster widthways. We're going to start to edge the bum forward and roll the arms on the bolster, and then begin to settle the upper body down. And we're going to come into a mountain heart variation. So Anahastasana. You want the arms as wide, or if not wider than the shoulders. If you begin to experience tingling through your arms, then just bend your elbows and let your forearms come in. We're only here for just a few breaths, not too long in this particular shape. And then just start to press your elbows down into the bolster, shift your hips forward, and we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So we've got the bolster just around the rib cage. The elbows can rest onto the bolster, the head can rest into the hands, and the legs are nice and long. And here, it's actually okay for the shoulders to lift up by the ears, right? So we're not doing dynamic practice in yin. It's perfectly fine. And even if it doesn't feel comfortable with the arms there, remember you can always just drop the chest onto the bolster. Okay, just slowly starting to ease your way back. And we're going to come straight into closed knee child's pose, dropping the forehead down. Put support underneath your head if you need it. Arms going to come back behind you. Just let the shoulder heads drop forward. And then slowly coming up to your seat. Okay, now from here we are going to stretch or work a little bit into the front of the quads. So we are going to keep the left leg back behind us. You can release the right leg off. And you're actually going to take your bolster back behind you and drop down onto the elbows. And we can just relax here and just use the bolster as a little bit of a prop for the upper portion of the body. If you feel okay here, then stay here. If you want to take it a little deeper with the upper portion of the body, you could have the bolster lengthways and just start to lay all the way back. Okay, slowly again, just starting to ease your way back up. And then we're going to release that left leg off, and we're going to take the right leg back and do exactly the same but on the right side. So again, you could have the bolster and relax the elbows onto the bolster, or you're going to lie all the way back. Okay, slowly starting to ease your way back up again. Releasing the right leg off. And then we're going to take the bolster and we're going to lie down on our back. You're going to press into your feet, lift your hips up, take the bolster just underneath you, just around, a little bit lower than the sacrum, and then begin to extend the legs away. You can bring the arms up and over and just come into a whole body front stretch. Okay, now from here, just begin to bend your knees. And you're going to take the bolster a little higher up your back. So you're going to place it just into the small of your back now. We're going to hook the left foot on top of the right knee and slowly start to come into figure 4 on that right side, on that left side even. If this doesn't feel good for you and you prefer to do it without the bolster, then you can do that. Okay, we're just going to release the left side off. And then we're going to go straight to the right side. So right foot on top of the left knee, threading the arms through, take a hold of the left shin. And then just beginning to release the right leg off. And then we're going to take both legs up, okay? So we're going to come into snail pose, or a version of shoulder stand. So you draw the shoulders underneath, you're going to take the legs up and over, and you can use the bolster. Start to move the bolster further up the back, even bringing the arms up and over, letting the knees bend. If you do not like this pose, simply take your legs up the wall, okay? So you can have your legs up the wall too. So just do what works for you. Okay, and then to ease out of this shape, just gradually begin to move your bolster away with your hands. Ease your spine down. You can move the bolster further down and come into constructive rest. So just having the bolster at the back of the knees. And just letting the whole of the body settle back down. So we're just going to treat this as our Shavasana. So I will guide you back up in a couple of minutes up to your seat. But just for now, just really settle, releasing the legs, the hips, the spine, the whole of the body. And then from here, take a nice big reach and stretch the arms, stretching the whole body. And then exhale, hands come to the legs, just hug the knees in close, gentle rock on your spine. And then we're going to roll over to the right side and then ease your way up to your seat. Now from your seated position, we're going to just keep the left leg long, take the right leg up and over the left knee, and hug that right knee as you take a little twist around to the right. Back through the center. And then right leg is long, left leg up and over right knee, and then a little twist around to the left. And then back through the center. Take your legs just into a comfortable cross. You can take a block or a pillow and just sit and elevate the hips. And just bringing your hands to rest on your knees, shoulders down your back. And just eyes closed. We'll just take a few moments to just come back round into the body. Take any releasing breaths out through the mouth, exhale out, and just let the breath go. And just bringing your hands together, rub your palms. And just bring the palms over the eyes. Take a big breath in. Big exhale out. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next Sunday.